Uh, so
Magic.
officially we are now recording. So what a fabulous backdrop that is on our topic
Thank
today.
you. Thank
Oh,
you.
look at those eyes. Fabulous. And you
Yeah,
know what? It actually, I think, is that like a cloth background that you have?
it is. Don't say it. It is actually a blanket, but no, we don't want to destroy the illusion, do we?
No, but because you know what? It looks like he's moving. He's moving with you.
It
That's
does. It
that.
does. Yes.
I
I
love
actually
that.
interviewed Charlie Morley recently, and I had that as my backdrop
Oh,
for
I
him
love
about
that.
lucid dreaming, and we were talking about the wolf within each of us,
Oh my
between the
gosh.
shadow and the. So I felt that was really like a good
Oh, well,
backdrop.
that's another question I'm going to have to ask you about the wolf inside us. You know? So, but
Perfect.
anyway, if you can please, I'm sure, I know you have a publicist that usually does this, and if you want me to do it, I'd be happy to do it. But she is such a, gosh, what can I say? Well-spoken, well-versed person with over 40 books and cards. And I was looking at your list and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to get some of these. These are fabulous. But if you can just please just tell us a little bit about your background. How long have you been a dream decoder, and what started you on this path of dream decoding?
Well, all my life, really, because I was born into a family of spiritualists, traveling psychics. That's kind of how I was brought up. And somehow, because I was home educated, I read religion and theology at King's College, Cambridge University. I still can't believe the blessing of getting in there because,
Yes.
unconventional background, very alternative. And this was back in the 80s when, it was like Etonians and everything.
Yes.
And then when I was studying theology and religion and dreams in religions at Cambridge, I began to realize that this really was my passion. And when I left, I have been blessed. I've been truly blessed to have book after book in this area of personal and spiritual growth and development. And my academic background enables me to reach out to scientists researching consciousness and to
Yes.
collaborate with neuroscientists and really try and push this forward that we are spiritual beings having a human experience
Yeah.
rather than human beings having a spiritual experience.
Oh,
As
I love that.
well,
Can
I
you say
believe.
that one more time, please?
So we are spiritual beings having a human experience. That's kind of the message of many of my books, but I bring in science, I bring in psychology, and I do try and remove some of the woo-woo which is caught in, and I think alienates people because my mission is to mainstream it. That soul, who we are from the inside out, becomes the first, not the last thing that we consider in our lives, and that's kind of my mission. And what happened during COVID with the lockdown dream phenomenon, suddenly everybody remembered my Harper Collins, because Harper Collins back in 2006 published a massive tome and I did 20,000 dreams and they
Oh,
reissued it. And it's just like everybody remembered that they had this, and I have been called up to TV, to radio, capital radio, places like that. ITV, I do national call-ins for the UK. Can you believe this? In 2022, they took a leap of faith in me because people were having so much dream life during COVID. Because of lockdown, we had more REM sleep. So, of course, you're going to. And people wanted to know what their nocturnal intuition was telling them. And ITV got in touch and said, look, we're going to take a leap of faith in you because we could get really criticized here, but we're going to do a call in. We're going to ask our viewers to call in, and they could not believe the reaction. They got so many calls, and I've now done it 11 times, almost like once a month. I go in with the various hosts there, and they say, Theresa, you're going to tell us about dreaming today. And the viewers call in, they tell me their dream, and I help them to try and understand it. And I think I couldn't feel more blessed. That feels such a leap forward because
yeah,
what they don't realize when you talk about dreams, you're talking about soul, you're talking about something very sacred.
yeah.
But everybody dreams, you see, even if you're skeptical and you don't believe in a spiritual element, you still dream and you want to know what's going on. And for me, it's a wonderful door, a portal to introducing people to more and more of these spiritual concepts. Sorry, long
And
answer
more
to
about
your question.
themselves too. I mean,
Yeah,
this is, and reading your book, I got a sense of who you are and how you think, and
yeah,
it's, of course, my perspective is we are all energetic beings, and energy connects us. So we basically, we're talking a very similar language, you and I. And I think maybe that's why I resonated with all of this.
oh, thank you.
So I know that there's probably a ton of questions, and I wanted to address the topics. So we are, okay, we're going to switch over to pets, and then we're just going to go random because I could probably stay on for a full day and have, a cup of tea with you, you know. So, topics. What do your dreams about pets mean?
Can we talk about animals first? Because I'd like to
Yes,
talk about what animals represent, because then pets have a different slot. Would that be all right? Because it's kind of a
absolutely.
natural way to do it. Because
Yes,
I'll say what dreams about animals in general, and then if we could
yes.
move to pets. So animals really represent the aspects of ourselves symbolically that are instinctual, primitive, aspects of ourselves that we need to explore and understand better, or develop, or integrate, or challenge. It's basically aspects of our own personality. People do make the mistake with dreaming to often think it's literal. You're not actually dreaming about a tiger or a wolf. You are
Mhm,
dreaming about the impulse within you,
mhm,
that you need to understand better, because that's what dreams do. They are great at shining a symbolic night light
mhm.
on things that you need to reflect on for your personal and spiritual growth.
Yes.
The reason many people struggle to understand their dreams is because they say, well, they don't make sense. And I say, well, of course they don't make sense. They come from a different country, the country of your unconscious. If you went to abroad and you didn't speak the language, you wouldn't understand it. You've got to learn the language of symbol, metaphor, association, punning, pathetic fallacy. And what does this sound like? This sounds very much like an English literature lesson. And if you were studying a poem at school or a work of art, you would look at it for layers of meaning. Like the poet would have a line using words like river or dog or whatever, or walking. And you, as the literary critic, would look underneath the surface of each of these key words. And
Mhm.
that's exactly how you interpret your dreams, as if they were a poem or a work of art that
Yep.
has layers and layers of meaning underneath. And that's where the magic is,
It's
because you
fascinating.
yeah, that's where the magic is. And that's what I'm trying to help people, because we have lost that ability over time. We used to have it to think symbolically and to think that there's another meaning behind what's on the surface. We're very surface level, as with technology and everything. Everything is what you see is what you get. But
Yes.
in ancient times, man would look at them and woman would look at the moon, and it would be intuition, it would be mystery,
Mhm,
it would be that haunting element in our lives. But now people just look at the moon as a planet, if you understand
mhm,
what I mean. It's
mhm.
getting to the layers beneath the meaning.
So
So that's what
if I
animals
can
are.
ask you a question on the animals then, so I know in shamanism, okay, we talk about power animals, your spirit
Yes.
guides, and all that. So it sound and in that perspective, it's that animal actually is the lion, one of my power animals. That's the lion in me. Is that what
Yes.
you're implying too?
Absolutely. I mean, it's very, very similar. What does the lion symbolize? It symbolizes freedom, courage, assertion. I mean, a lot of women need to develop these qualities within themselves, because we've kind of like traditionally had it, drummed out of us to be sort of always compassionate, caring, others before self, which is wonderful because the world needs that. But
Yes.
women also need to find their inner lion. And that's why it's, an eagle or a stallion. We all
Yes.
need to connect with that drive to
Mhm.
feel more fulfilled, because I believe we're here on this earth to learn and grow.
Right.
And that often involves encountering our shadow sides, the parts of ourselves that we fear, that we have
Mhm,
repressed and denied.
mhm.
And these parts of ourselves, you see, they don't go away. They get buried in our unconscious. And
Yes.
in our waking life can lead to depression, anxiety, fears, irrational behavior. And in our dreams, they surface as nightmares. But nightmares are a transformative gift, because it is a very safe way of you coming right face to face with your shadow, or the
Mhm,
parts of yourself you should
mhm,
stop running away from. But you just need, most of these shadow aspects of ourselves just need understanding and a conversation.
mhm.
That's what they need. And then
And also when you think about it in the dream world, you can master the rule of your dream. So
yeah,
if you have an animal that comes at you,
turn
and
around.
it becomes a nightmare, exactly, you can do that. It's just like it's just got goosebumps on that one. So
Yeah.
that's so spot on as far as I see.
That's why dream work is so empowering, because if your unconscious can overcome a hurdle and believe in something, like for example, if you dream about the life you want to lead, you're
Mhm.
almost so close to achieving it because your unconscious already believes it.
Yes.
There's such power in belief. We do kind of create our own reality, and dream work can help us at an unconscious level, which is where all the blocks are, remove those blocks. And then in our waking life, we know we've faced our demons in our dreams and our nightmares,
Yeah.
so we don't have to do it again in our waking life. We can move forward
Yeah.
liberated
Yeah.
and confident, because we've done all the messy stuff in our dreams
Yeah.
safely without
Yeah.
hurting anyone.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. That's such a strong message. So, would you be comfortable in segueing now to pets?
Of course, you see, pets are the next natural progression, because those are the aspects of ourselves that we think we can manage. They're also the aspects of ourselves that are crying out to be nurtured and cared for, because most pets are hopelessly dependent on us. Cats are slightly different, but they still need us for the essentials, food, etc. So it's a part of ourselves that is desperately in need of unconditional love and nurturing. And pay attention to the condition of the pets in your dreams. I mean, if they're starving or they're angry, that's a big red flag for you. Look at, if your pet is very content and loving and kind with you in the dream, that's a good sign that you are kind of taking loving care of yourself. But if
Mhm.
your pet is neglected in any way in a dream, or abandoned or lost, this
Mhm.
is warning you self-care is slipping. You need to
Oh,
prioritize yourself again, because that's what pets are. They're our loving companions. They're our best friends. They walk with us through thick and thin. They
right.
love us, whatever state we're in. And
Yeah.
that is the role we really need to do for ourselves. A
Yes.
lot of us, and that's why when someone is down or low, a pet is so good. Or like when your children leave home, because pets instantly give you what you are lacking. But
Yeah.
ultimately, at the end of the day, we need to be giving that to ourselves, really. And that's what pets can show us how to do that. Pets can really show us how much we should love ourselves. And that's why it's so heartbreaking when they pass on.
Yeah.
And if you haven't got the self-love in place, it can really, I mean, I get so many moving letters, because I've written about pets in heaven, of people who are as as gutted when a pet dies as when a child dies, or a partner. It's almost like, this was my best friend, this was my life, because they've structured their life around the pet. And that is a beautiful thing, as long as that relationship also encourages you to love yourself just the way your pet loves you. If
Absolutely.
you don't, it's going to be heartbreaking when they move on, which they will. Pets walk with us such a short period of time. So, what are pets? I believe they are earth angels to show us what true love is,
Absolutely.
unconditional love, and also how exciting it is to be us. Because when you, especially if you have a dog, when you come back, even if it's 2 minutes, it's like, oh my goodness, they're excited to see you. No makeup, whatever mood you're in, it's such a confidence boost. But what they're showing us is, this is how you need to show up for yourself.
Yeah.
Please do that for me. That's what my role here on earth is, to show you to show up for yourself in the way I do, with unbounding passion, enthusiasm, and love, and being present in the moment as well.
And I think the next step for me when I do a pet reading for a client is, talking about the afterlife and the soul to soul connection, and that's, yes, they haven't left you. They're still there.
Yes.
It's just a different level. So that brings on yet, another topic of conversation, is what happens once they pass. And then, we talked about all of this that you just brought up, pets in our dreams, but is there a difference maybe in those pets that have passed versus those pets that are alive? I mean, do you,
For
well,
me, there is no difference. Their loving energy remains alive. I've done a lot of research into the possibility of an afterlife, from a human and an animal perspective, because I get so many messages about both. I've studied near-death experiences, looked at the science currently out there, and it's actually very interesting. The science of the afterlife now is really, really emerging
yeah,
area, that is not discounting the possibility that consciousness, the spark of life within us, may be able to survive bodily death. Of course, there is no solid proof. I think near-death experiences come close to that, but
Mhm.
there's no proof that there is no life after death either. So, I'm going to believe that there is. And I myself have had experiences where my beloved, I was a cat person before I was a dog person. I had a cat for 18 years, and I believe, that one night it was almost like the cat was on the bed and I could hear the purring and it felt like a visitation. I've also had very vivid dreams. I recently, because I have two cats, two dogs, but one of my cats, unfortunately, age 12, was hit by a car a couple of months ago, and
Oh, I'm so sorry.
that cat comes to me in my dreams. I can see the yellow eyes. It was Merlin, an orange, beautiful cat, and breaks my heart, but it's almost like Merlin is saying, I'm still here. And
Mhm.
what's wonderful is that we buried Merlin in our garden and a plant's grown there, and the other cat, Max, will sit on it.
Oh,
It,
how sweet.
it's like the two of them together because they were brothers. But I do believe that, that your pet visits you in your dreams, certainly, because that's the way that least frightening to do so. And I do believe that afterlife dreams um, are a very powerful part of the healing process in grief because they show you that death ends a life, not a relationship.
Hmm.
That the relationship in spirit continues even though the bodily death has happened.
So
And
are there any suggestions that you have that if you're trying to figure out exactly what the message is on a recurring dream? I mean, I know there's steps that you go through this new book that just is out, just how to
okay,
catch a dream for everybody that is on the call. But I know you have specific steps in lucid dreaming. So for this particular instance, if what steps would you suggest they take either before they go to sleep or during their dream
okay.
maybe to talk to this
Well,
animal?
these are basic dream decoding skills, and as I said, I've written so much about dreams and I've studied them all my life. I mean, basically, setting the intention to dream before you go to sleep is very important. Your brain is very plastic before sleep, and what you say to it before you fall asleep, it takes on board. So tell yourself, I'm going to dream, perhaps about my beloved pet, as you're drifting off to sleep, and it's going to be a beautiful dream. Tell yourself that. When you wake up, stay still in the same position. Moving very quickly straight away puts you in the land of the conscious reality, and it cannot compete with the subtleness of the unconscious realm. So if you wake up, just stay still for a good 2 minutes. Keep your eyes closed so you mirror the dream state and just let these images bubble to the surface. If
Ah,
no images come, focus on the feeling and then write down whatever feeling it has, and chances are during the day something will come. But don't stress if there's no dream recall. We all go through periods like that. You have dreamt, you're just not in a place to recall them. But
right.
keep doing that and it will happen. But the staying still when you wake up is very important.
Mm.
And also try and avoid an alarm clock, because alarm clocks are the enemy of dream recall because they put you in conscious reality where reason and logic take over. Now, when you're in the dream state, the only thing missing is reason and logic, right? So
Right.
as soon as the reason and the rational come in, the conscious part of your brain, it cannot compete. It's too dominant.
Yeah.
However, when you fall asleep, that part of your brain shuts down, the reason and the logic, and allows the intuition, the creativity, the dreaming part of your brain to just be unchained
Mhm.
and to talk to you. It's longing to talk to you in the day as well. And people who are very in touch with their intuition
Yeah.
will be able to access it during the day too, and daydream and listen to their gut instinct. But a lot of us have shut that off.
Yeah.
But dreams are that part of us still saying to us, however skeptical we are and however reasonable and rational we've come, look, I'm still here. I'm your soul. I'm still here. But you could ask why sometimes the message is so ugly. They're not ugly. They're just trying to, 'cause sometimes dreams are very frightening and anxiety inducing, but they're trying to use shock value because you've ignored the gentle, healing, beautiful dreams of you skipping through a field with your beloved pet because you haven't remembered them because they're too calming.
Yeah.
So basically, nightmares are tough love. It's your soul saying, come on, I'm going to shock you now. I'm going to use tough love and I'm going to use a recurring dream theme that's unpleasant until you understand it. Because the moment you understand, you have decoded the symbolism of your dream, the meaning, it won't reoccur. your dreams will shift to something else. Your dreams are always wanting to move towards evolution, teaching you new things. And that's another sign that you've decoded a dream correctly, is first of all, it will be something you don't already know. Your
Mhm.
dreams don't tell you what you already know, they surprise you. And secondly, it will uplift you. If an interpretation of a dream is draining or depressing, that is not the correct interpretation. Your dreaming mind is infinite and expansive and always pulling you
Mhm.
higher and higher.
Mhm.
It truly is. From all the research I've done, it has your best interests at heart. We come with an inbuilt nocturnal therapist and far cheaper than real therapy, but
Yeah.
we've just forgotten how to use it. I mean, many cultures have dream decoders, ancient shamanic cultures, primitive tribes. They will have a dream, a shaman, a wise person, that when you have a dream, you go to this person, you talk through that dream and understand it. We don't have that anymore, and we urgently do. And I long for the day when dream decoding is taught in schools and it
Oh, that
becomes,
would be
you know,
marvelous. Mhm.
well, interestingly, it is. I've done a few talks in schools, also prisons, interestingly, that prisoners are having dreams because obviously they have a lot of shadow work to do,
You
and
do.
how helpful it is for healing and helping them understand what's going on with them.
A quick
And
question for those of you that are on, can you explain what shadow work is?
sorry,
For those of
shadow
those
work.
that don't
Oh,
know, if you can explain
well,
shadow
that's
work.
why I put this shadow work is basically there's night and day. Let's look at there's night and day in our world. You can't have day without night. And with everyone, however nice, I mean, you all look like lovely, kind ladies. And I hate to say it, but underneath it, there is always within us a potential for negativity and toxic behavior. It's just being human. It's nothing to be ashamed of. But trouble is, many of us go through life fearing that if we show that side, people won't like us, it's not socially acceptable. So we bury it. And
Yeah,
that is the shadow. But
yeah.
the shadow needs us to understand it's there, to learn and grow from it. And then when we're awake, to know we have the potential for toxic behavior,
Mhm.
but to choose to do the right thing. That is true inner strength.
Mhm.
It's not denying it and repressing it and saying it doesn't exist. True inner strength is saying, yeah, I know I can be jealous, I
Mhm.
can be hateful, I can be lustful, I can be all these things, but I choose not to go that way.
Mhm.
It's like the two walls, as I say, there's two walls inside us. One's hateful and ugly, the other's compassionate, loving, and kind. And the little boy says to the elder of the tribe, well, which wolf wins? Because they're fighting. And he says, the one you choose to feed. And that is so powerful. And dreams,
Oh, yeah. Yes.
yeah, that's the one that's going to win. And dreams help us hopefully feed the loving wolf, the kind wolf.
Yes. Yes. Oh,
That's
no.
going to
I
win.
think they're all kind. If we can just take a few minutes here, there are a couple of comments on here. Someone wrote, "Dogs are small rays of light caught on the earth for a short time to brighten our days."
They're angels, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And then someone else wrote, "Some of my deceased pets have come back to visit. I see them for about 20 seconds and then they disappear. Our
They
Maltese appeared on my bed for 20 seconds within a month of her passing. I felt her, saw her, and then she dissipated. I also hear my two Shih Tzus who have passed walking in the hallway. They come at night and lay against me for several seconds. I feel the freezing cold spots and then they leave. It's such a gift and a comfort."
They never leave, even though you say they visited. I hate that word visitation because it suggests they're
Mm.
just dropping in. Every time you close your eyes and remember them, picture them, every time you have a memory or think about them with feelings of love, they're right there.
Mm,
They're alive
absolutely.
within you and all around you. And as I said, I have had too many stories now. And as I say, I work with scientists to send my stories. They use them as data because in any other realm, these kind of experiences we have of connection to the other side would be treated as data. They're witness statements. And these are people of all walks of life, doctors, teachers, nurses, students, old, young. And often these are people who say, look, I never really believed in all this, but this experience happened to me. I sensed something. And that is so powerful.
We have just a couple more comments. because I'm watching the time, so that's why I'm like right back to it. Several of my past dogs have returned. One takes walks with my current pack, shows himself as a hawk, staring at us when asked. So that was very cool. I would love to dream of my heart dog. It's been 4 years. I miss him so very much. I haven't gotten over his death.
I mean, if you think an animal, a pet, is love, loyalty, and gratitude,
Mhm.
and that's the very definition of soul.
Yes.
It is the very definition of soul, you know. So just remember that, and the soul is infinite and eternal and cannot die ever. It's always there, and they are always with you. Their essence remains and carries on. It's in you. I could not. I can't say that strongly enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they are here to
Absolutely.
teach us. I think they are our teachers. They, you know, according to Jung, you know, the father of dream interpretation, you know, animals and pets in our dreams, they are the sacred part of ourselves because animals are so in touch with their unconscious. They don't question it or fear it or second guess it. They're so intuitive, so empathetic. They are actually higher than us, according to Jung.
Yeah,
If you look at how he interprets animal symbols in dreams,
yeah,
that and when they appear in your dreams, it's a really beautiful, beautiful moment,
mhm,
and in our lives. And it's
absolutely.
that famous saying, you haven't really awakened or known love until you've loved an animal. Your heart is not complete.
Can we see who your best friend is by your side?
Well, I can tell you because a few years ago I had a really tough time, person we all do in life, and this little one came into my life. Arnold.
So
Hi,
cute.
Arnold.
Oh.
And I mean, you know, if someone offered me, I'm not joking here, if someone offered me $1 billion or Arnold, I would, there's no question. And that shows to me I'm wealthy already.
Yes,
No? So
absolutely.
people say, you know, what is it? Honestly, and I'm sure you'd all the same. You know, it's priceless, isn't it? And I find myself after work wanting to rush back to this.
I know. Look at he's just, yes, I do love you. You know I do.
But I know he's, you know, I also am aware, you know, their lifespan is much shorter
Yes.
that he's going to go, and I'm fully prepared for that, but safe in the knowledge that the love is so strong. Love just doesn't dissipate. Love is the force. If you study near-death experiences, I mean, I've written so many books about that, spoken to so many near-death experiences from Anita Morjani to even Alexander, who I've collaborated with. It's just love
Yes.
that's over there.
Mhm.
That's the only currency. And for whatever reason, often in life, our human relationships can be difficult, and then we have to learn the lessons from these ones.
Yes, absolutely. So on
Yeah,
that note, our time is up, but if it's all right with you, Teresa, we could stay on just a few more minutes after we
absolutely. Oh,
stop the
oh,
recording and ask
yes,
if anybody has any live questions to ask you. Is that okay with you?
absolutely. I'm trying to take a screenshot. Arnold, pose. Arnold, this is actually his video Zoom debut because I
Arnold,
haven't done
oh,
a
I
pic.
see his
There
head.
we go.
There
There
we
we go.
go.
Oh, I keep doing, I'm so bad. It's somebody tell me it's Command Shift, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, come on, Teresa. Sorry, Arnold. Arnold. Come on.
There we go. There we
This
go.
could be a big moment. He's very sleepy because I took him for a long walk. Command Shift 3. There we go. And I can post this for you. Okay, come on. Come on.
Yay!
Lady, get there. Somebody got chicken. Okay. Come on. Come on. I haven't got enough hands. I'll get there. I'll get there. One, two. There. Done it. Thank you. Oh, that's great. Got it.
So on that fun note, I'm going to stop recording and open up the mic.